Hey guys, Beast 1210 here. Brought you down to a little piece, hidden forest, little area here. I don't know if you call it the wild area. The Seattle Parks bought this over years ago to protect the stream, and I'll snap a picture of that here soon. Um, it's a nice little small river that runs year round. It does have a salmon run that runs through it. I think that was part of the reason for buying it. It's considered an open space under the Seattle Parks area, and there's a ton of these in the greater Seattle area, and they're basically unmanaged. They are not maintained year-round. So what you get is you're going to get a great abundance of wildlife, dense foliage, and everything is basically prospering down here because there's very little foot traffic. The way I came in, I didn't see any forced entry until I got further back in here. Then I saw a few paths. But the reason I'm making this video is this is sort of going to be an intro to more of my bug out series. And I just kind of want to lay it out. I'm going to try and do it as quick as possible. Just for some of the emails I've been getting, messages through YouTube, all those guys, people who hadn't even considered it, I guess is probably the most emails I'm getting. A lot of my friends on YouTube, we're all kind of the same mindset, so we're all pretty much on the same page. But there's a lot of people out there that are searching through YouTube and finding us, and they aren't used to the idea of preparedness. They're not used to the idea of wilderness survival. They're not used to a lot of that stuff. And I think that's mostly the reason I started making these videos, were for people that weren't used to this. It's not a normal thing to go camping. Their camping is campgrounds with fire pits and stuff. And so I'm going to try and do my bug out series. It's been very well received with some of the other stuff, and I've had, ever since I started the bug out vehicle stuff, I've gotten just a ton of requests for bug out gear, bug out bags, and it seems to be an overall YouTube theme of kind of your level of preparedness, whether you want to call it your get home bag, which I did a series on that, and I'll sort of go over my multi levels of my preparedness and whatnot, and sort of my theory and my take on it. And I'll try and cover as much as possible. I will be doing some bug in stuff, some home survival as well. I've received a couple emails on that. One gentleman was in the UK, and we're talking about a great movie that recently came out is Defiance, and it has to do with the war and the Jews being prosecuted, and several of them were forced into the woods and prospered and survived as best they could. And it's a Hollywood movie. It's based on a true story, but it's a great excuse me, movie, especially for those who think they're going to hump their entire house on their back in their bug out bag and survive year round, up to maybe over a year. You got to think long term on a lot of this. I will not be getting to any tactical stuff. Yes, I have my preparedness, tactical arrangements. As a personal decision, I've decided not to go into that. So you'll have to respect that, and won't ask me, what I'm carrying and what kind of ammo and stuff like that. I'm going to leave that up to your imagination, and that will be my secret that I will not divulge. There's plenty of great videos out there and patriots out there that have wonderful advice, and ex-military people that have, more experience than I do in that matter, and it would be a great resource to check them out. I'm going to be sort of combining some of my ultralight stuff that I started in January. To give you background, I actually wasn't working at that time, and so sky was the limit with the things I was going to do, and one of the things I was preparing to do was hike the Pacific Crest Trail, a trail that runs from Canada border all the way to Mexico that follows the Cascades on the west side of the United States. It takes 4.5 months to do, which is sort of why people get into the ultralight gear, because every ounce really counts when you're humping it over many miles. So I'm going to try and combine that. I will give a lot of the weights and stuff in on my bug out gear, because I believe that's important too. The more gear you can carry, or the faster you can carry it, is going to be important. You know, like I said, you're not going to carry your whole house with you. So, Dave Canterbury of Wilderness Outfitters uses the term self-reliance, and I think that's a perfect term to describe surviving in the woods. Being comfortable in the wilderness is important. If you're caring about cleanliness and bugs, you're going to have a hard time with it the first time. So now's the time to be acclimated, spend time in the woods. Whether you're car camping with your car 10 feet away, that's fine. Get out there, enjoy the environments, start researching it, watch videos like, we're preparing. What else do I got? Current population density is another issue. This area here, I don't usually come to in the winter, for instance, although it would be a great water source. It's very close to my house, easily within walking distance. It's less than a mile. All this foliage you see is very scarce, down to nil in the winter. And I can easily see the homes that surround the edges of this open space. And that would reflect back on you. They'd easily, out of their kitchen window, be able to see, a bright orange tent over here if you weren't stealth camping. Places like this are probably great and advantageous to a lot of the homeless that live in this area. Especially during the summer, you're probably going to run into a lot of other folks sharing your space in such a rich urban environment. But that's it. I'm going to go all the way from the very beginning of my preparedness, go back through some of my stuff of my EDC, into the bag that I carry to work, EDC bag if that's what you want to call it. I've covered the stuff that's in my truck. If something happens to my truck, I can get home with my get home bag. You got to think multiple levels of preparation, and I'm not doing it to scare anybody. I'm doing it so that the preparedness part is taken care of. I'm not telling you to hide in your home. I'm not telling you to dig a trench and hide in it. I want you to be out there and enjoying your family, enjoying your friends, enjoying the time that you have. Go to the movies, go to McDonald's if that's your thing. Go enjoy yourself, because it won't be long before you'll be reminiscing about the times and the memories that you're making right now. And that's important. You got to have something very positive to hold on to through the tougher times. And whether you remain in your house and you struggle it through economic times, whatever the situation is, this isn't the shit hits the fan, end of all world wars scenario. I just believe that preparedness from the very bottom level to the very top level is just key. It's mandatory, and it saves the what ifs that's in your heads, the boogeyman's out there in the dark that you're fearing, that keeps you from feed my family if I lose my job for the next 6 months. All those questions that we all face and tribulate with ourselves can be solved with preparedness. That's sort of my take on all this, and I thank you for your time, and we will continue. This will be a very multi-layered stuff. I'll probably go item by item, go into details about what I carry, some of the other gear I have, some gear that would be great to get if I didn't already have the gear that I had, some other things, some price points for people to look at, some just trying to cover the basics, give people the ideas of prepared. Thanks.